Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rochelle, this is Brampton Gardener, and today we are finally getting around to actually starting the terrariums. I have been talking about this terrarium for quite a while. Well, not this one. This one. So I bought this last year at HomeSense, which is like Home Goods, for $15. It was on clearance, and it is absolutely massive, and it is beautiful. And I decided I wanted to do a terrarium, and I've never done a terrarium before, and I'm not great with houseplants. So I have been watching a ton of different videos and trying to decide which style I want, the look that I'm going for, and I finally found my style is called a scene terrarium. If you know anything about me, you know that I am obsessed with all things miniature and villages and little houses. So last year, I bought these absolutely beautiful little houses from Lilliput Lane. Retail, I see these go in, you know, kind of like antique stores and stuff like that, anywhere from like $30 to $50. You'll see at that price on Etsy as well. And I bought them for $3.99 at Value Village. So they had a ton of them. I only bought 3 because I wasn't even sure what I was going to do with these at the time. This was long before the idea of the terrarium came. So I have 3 of them in here. So I want to do what is called a scene terrarium. And in order to get that look and the height in the terrarium, I'm going to need to cover like the back, probably at least 1/3 of it with a backdrop. And that way I can put moss and build things up in it, and that's going to give it a backdrop for the terrarium, and that way I can build some hills and mountainsides in it. And so that's the plan. Now there are a couple different ways to do the background. One of them, you can use spray foam, which is really ugly on the outside, so you kind of have to, what did they smear? They smeared it with something inside and then put the spray foam, or you could kind of cover it with something on the outside, but you would literally see the spray foam from the outside of the container. And since this is going to be living in my living room, I kind of wanted to avoid that route if I can. I might have to go back to that if my practice one doesn't work. But also, I bought these. These are the cutest things I have ever seen. I oohed and awed and I squealed with delight when they came in from the order, but I'm not going to show you what they are just yet. You're going to have to wait till the end of this video to find out what these are. But oh my God, they're so stinking cute. Okay, so the other method for doing a backdrop on a terrarium is to use clay, because the clay will adhere to the glass, and then you can push things into the clay like moss and plants and rocks and stones and things like that. So I really like the idea of the clay. And so of course, as I was Googling and YouTubing clay background terrariums, I went down this whole rabbit hole of wild clay, and that is where people go out and just dig up clay from the ground and process it and make their own clay. And I have that video. I'll put it here, and it'll be in the link down below, and it'll be at the end of the video where I went and I did that. Okay, so here's just a small batch of my beautiful clay. Like, I cannot tell you how proud I am of this stupid stupid bowl. I'm proud of my homemade clay. It's absolutely beautiful. It's still very liquidy, as you can see. I mean, there's kind of a viscosity of maybe like chocolate pudding. If you wanted to, like, of course, if you're gonna work with it and make pottery or whatever, you have to let it dry out even more. Put it in a pillowcase and drain it. But this, I'm gonna be adding potting mix and some of the other stuff on it, and I want it to be fairly wet to put onto the thing. So I was a little bit concerned about it drying out. They say if the clay dries out, like if you don't spray it every day, which we all know that's not going to happen. If you don't spray it every day, it can crack. So I don't mind if it cracks, because I'm going to have it covered with moss and some of the cocoa coir and stuff, like coconut coir. So I'm okay with that. I just don't want it to fall off. So if it cracks and falls off, then that's going to be a real problem. And I don't want to be messing with that on the big one when I have everything in there and all the plants I bought planted. Well, I didn't, okay, all the plants, 2. But I have cuttings that I've taken from my garden that are going to go in there as well. So I decided to just do a practice one on this one, and we'll let it go for a couple of weeks maybe, and just kind of see how everything's going in there, make sure we don't get any mold, and make sure the clay doesn't fall off the wall. So let me just get this tidied up a little bit, and we're gonna get started. We're gonna start making a terrarium. Okay, so I've decided I'm gonna just add some tape around the top edge of this just to keep it nice and clean, so when I'm done I don't have to like worry about a ton of mud being on there once the clay is done. And I'm just putting this in here to kind of tape off, kind of wiggling it around, just to get a nice kind of a clean edge. So this, we're gonna be putting clay. I'm gonna do a lot on this one just because I wanna see how it goes. So this is my clay, and it's kind of, like I said, like a chocolate pudding consistency right now. So to this, I'm gonna add a bit of the potting mix, because if I plant my, like for this one, not so much, I'm just gonna be using moss. But in the other one, if I plant any of my plants and I stick them into the backdrop, which some people will do, that way there is some more nutrients in there for it to kind of feed off of. So that will be the plan. So we're gonna add a little bit in, and then some of the coconut coir, which I have in this container here. So far for costs, the only thing I purchased for making this project is that little tiny baggie that I showed you that you'll see at the end, which was not expensive. And then my, my super long tweezers I bought off AliExpress for I think $3 or $4. And a big brick of coconut coir. This is just a small fraction of it, for $3 at the plant sale. So everything else I already had and or foraged. I did buy a big bag of tropical plant mix and perlite. That's right. But that's more for the other container. I will add a little bit of perlite to this one. So that it's a big bag for $6. So far we are attempting to make the world's cheapest, most economical terrarium. So I'm making the clay mixture. So this is just really dried potting mix. I moistened it just a tiny bit because I want it to kind of absorb the moisture from the clay. So we're just gonna add it into this container. I probably won't use all the clay that's in here, but I can save it for the other one. So add that, that's probably enough. And then a little bit of the coconut coir. This is mainly to just kind of go on the top. So we're just gonna stir it. So really pretty wet. It's a really pretty color gray though. I'm ridiculously proud of this clay. So now I'm gonna switch to my hand because I'm gonna be using my hand to get it in. So I'm gonna try and keep one hand clean. We're gonna do the like breading method. Oh, can you see what I'm doing? Let me see, I might have to put this up on I have my Lazy Susan here. Because in the videos, it's pretty thick when they use it, right? So I hope I don't regret having dried it out more. Really? The back wall. I'm worried it could be a little too wet, but we will see. I'm gonna build it up at the bottom more, so it's gonna be thicker at the bottom and then thinner at the top. And I am kind of worried that when I stand this up, it's gonna all slide down. So if that happens, we're just gonna have to take a pause and let this air out a bit more before I can finish it. So let's just, yeah, it's sliding down. It's sliding down. So this might be too wet. Okay, it's you can see that just sliding down. It's not sticking to the glass at all. Yeah, it's way too wet. So I'm gonna scoop it back out, put it back in the container, and I'm gonna try and wring it out with some, we're gonna wring it out. Okay, so quick change of plans. I put it into a tea towel and we are just gonna jelly method it. We're just gonna let it drain. So I'm just gonna hook it together like this at the top, and then it's gonna just sit here. I'm gonna just clip it to the side of my pot. We can go ahead and mix the soil we're gonna be using, because we're gonna need to add water and get that all mixed in. So we're gonna add a bit of the coconut coir. I guess I could have left my gloves on for this. For this one, I'm planning on mainly just using moss. We're just gonna kind of keep it really, really simple with moss, and we don't have to worry about, you know, killing anything. Try doing a little scene in this. This is what I have for that. This is a Sussex Cottage by David Winter, 1982. It's a little chipped on the edge, but it's very cute. So I might use that just to kind of give me an idea of scale for when I do the bigger one. So we might do that one. This has been a process. I have started kind of just doing random videos of different parts of it here and there. So I did some with the clay and then some harvesting moss. I went out in the backyard and I went around back behind by the train tracks and I harvested some moss and little sticks and stuff like that. I also have a few dried elements that I have dried from my own garden. So this is statice. So little bits of this could be a cute little, you know, flowering tree. We can pretend it's like a jacaranda or something. So we will see. And then I have different kinds of moss. So this is not gonna be ready yet. So we are gonna take a break. And we are back. It has been several hours. I've had lunch, I've made dinner, I've been to the store. It is finally into a nice moldable clay form. So I had it just hanging in that pot for just until now. I just came to check on it and it is nice and pliable, right? So this is, Dexter found his bomb. So this is the consistency that we want. So in the videos I watch, people just take small clumps, they start thicker at the bottom and then they just build it on up. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I did not clean this out because why do extra work? So I just kind of wiped what was there, but it's still moist. I put a lid on it so it wouldn't dry out and be crumbly. So I'm just gonna take sections of it. I'm gonna try and keep this hand clean so I don't get fingerprints all over this. And I'm just gonna kind of layer up little blobs. That looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of the potting mix on top. Just a little bit. Just to kind of give it a little bit more. I mean, we don't want it to just look like I just stuck a bunch of clay on the back, right? And I'm going to do the same thing with the cocoa coir. I'm going to just kind of sprinkle it in there. Okay, so that's going to give us some texture. Okay, no, we're not going to bark. Okay, no. Okay, so I was going to go ahead and do the moss now, but I think I'm going to wait because I don't know exactly how far down that's going to come. Because I have this going all the way to the bottom, but we're not going to decorate all the way to the bottom. So next up, we are going to do the base layer. So let me just wash my hands really quick, they're a mess. So our base layer, our drainage layer, usually rocks. We are gonna be using, keep in mind this is my practice one, so I'm not gonna be using my good lava stones that I have. So I think I'm gonna put a little bit of this purple sand at the bottom just to be, I don't know, I've had it for a while, might as well use it, right? So I'm gonna put a layer of this at the bottom. And I'm gonna kind of let it build up more on one side than the other. I think that looks nice. And then I have these glass marbles things, and I've had them for ages, and I just don't, they're not great. I don't really like using them in decorations and in my vase. If you use it in with like real flowers, and every time you go to dump the water out, you gotta strain them and then you gotta clean them, and they can get kind of skunky, and so I'm not a fan. So my big one, I will probably be using some pretty rocks and stones around the edges. But for this one, we're just gonna use these. They're still gonna add a bit of color, I think. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take all the tape off now because I wanna try and get some of that down. Okay, I just realized, I think for my big terrarium, I'm gonna try and do the base layer first and then stick the clay on the sides, because I want that nice pretty base layer to kind of go around the back side a bit more. Well, I don't know if it'll be that important or not, so we're just gonna take our tape away. And with the decorative sand, a little bit around these sides. Just a little bit as well at the bottom. Nice little decorative layer. Okay, and then I pre-cut my little piece of plastic. I'm gonna slide that in. Okay, so that's just gonna kind of help keep our soil where it needs to be. And then we're gonna put in a couple inches of our potting mix. See where this is gonna be able to sit. Okay, I'm just gonna set it here for now. And I was kind of hoping to get a waterfall coming down the back and into like a little pond. And from a previous project, I have a little pond thingy. Let me show you. Oh, I like that. Okay, so the house is gonna move over here. We're gonna move it out of the way. We are gonna do more of a hill. So I'm gonna put more soil at the back. We're gonna do a hill. So the house is gonna be on a hill over here, and then we're gonna get a waterfall coming down the mountain. When I did this, I had used some landscape fabric. So I think I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna just cut it in a very narrow strip like that. And I'm gonna lay it down, and that's gonna become my riverbed. I'm gonna stand it up and see. Sounds good. Oh, I like it. It looks like a waterfall. So I'm gonna clean it up using my handy dandy tweezers. And sorry, but I'm gonna need to look at it. You guys can see it when I am done. A little waterfall. Okay, now we're gonna check the house. Make sure it's gonna fit on this ledge nicely and not look too high. Precipice. Yeah, don't build a house there. Okay, so that's gonna sit to the side now. And now we're gonna be planting all of our moss. I'm gonna lay it back on its side, and hopefully I won't displace the, do it like this, there we go. I don't wanna displace my river going on an angle, but we're gonna just take it, and hopefully it's still wet. Let me see, yeah, it's still moist. So we are just going to come up here, and we are gonna just press it in to the clay like that. Okay, and that's why I didn't want to cover my clay completely. It's because I needed to be able to press this moss right into the clay, and eventually it will root into that clay, no problem, because that's pretty much what it was growing in up at the top of the hill. But I don't want to cover my wall completely. Texture, how's that looking? Oh, it looks pretty good. It looks very foresty. No, I know. I'm just wondering, can you grab me that light on the side of the fridge? Just because every once in a while getting a glare, and I just need to kind of see what I'm doing better. My assistant. See, he does exist. Oh, you can almost see his arm. Not quite. You're like the Wilson of the YouTube. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. It is so cute. Okay, so I see here where I'm missing some I'm missing some moss up on the hillside. So we'll go in. Little cushion moss, draggy. This is the stuff that I got in my cracks. Sidewalk cracks. Okay. It's been growing, so it doesn't look like it did when I put it in here. It's like long, tall. It looks like grass, so that's actually kind of cool. So we're gonna tuck it here in the front. Oh, it looks so cozy in there. I love it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna spray everything first. I'm gonna give everything a really good mist and then we'll put the house in. I'm gonna go take my scissors and I'm gonna come back with a couple surprises. I have this plant and I can't remember. I think it's called a friendship something or other. But I showed that to you earlier. So I grabbed one of those. And then I grabbed a couple cuttings off my asparagus fern, which will be really nice little trees for around the house. So I'm just gonna come in and pull off the bottom branches. The curve of the glass makes it really hard to see what I'm doing, so we're gonna put it here like this. Okay, there we go. It's in nice. I'm gonna press that in nicely so it doesn't have any air pockets. It just looks like the cutest little rosette, so don't worry, you'll get to see it up close in a little bit. So these, just see if it does anything. Water right where the roots are. And this is probably how I'll be doing some watering. Of the actual terrarium, especially if there's certain plants that might need a little bit more water than the rest. Okay, so let's clean it up and then we're gonna put the house in, and then, oh, I do want to see if I can't get those other things in. As it's gonna get for now. So I want to add a little bit of color. I have these. Trying not to knock everything off. So I have these that are really pretty. Dried status. And they're very sturdy stems. I don't know. Oh, we're gonna put our house back in. Yep. Gotta be careful about trees or plants. You want to crush them. Okay. Now I think this can go down right here. Oh, that's really, yeah. Yeah, that's giving a really nice pop of color. This one is going to come in a couple of sections. So. Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't want to do too much, which I know I end up doing way too much. Sometimes you just gotta stop. So I think since I use this, I'm not gonna go ahead and add any sand in there. I don't think I need it. I think this is it. This is it. So let's clean this up, and then I'm gonna show you the pièce de résistance. Oh, was I gonna put a little? Let me put a little piece of scrap wood in there. Just in the front. Oh, hold on. I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. We have a bridge. Okay. I don't know. Okay, don't worry. You'll come in nice and tight and close, and I'll show you. But next up, I ordered online 100 people. Can you see them? They're people. And they're very tiny. Like this one here. Oops, I'm afraid to drop them. Dexter would have a fun time eating all of these. Like this one here, like it's a guy and he's wearing like boots and he's got a briefcase, and there's another one with a girl and like she's got like fur boots and a matching purse. Like it's crazy to me, the detail that is on these. So I think I'm gonna have to do a few drops of glue maybe to get them to stick on a few spots, but let's see. Okay, so I'm just trying to see if I can't find just a spot where I can just, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Okay, he's gonna fall over, so hopefully you can see him soon. He's right by the pond. So I'm gonna put a few people, like I don't want a ton of people, like this is the middle of nowhere, right? Like this is a nice house up in the hillside. It would not normally have a bunch of people in a scene. That's all with this. He's got a cane. I don't think a guy with a cane should be out in the forest like this, but whatever. You know what it's like telling old people what to do, okay? Alright, this guy, no, I like the guy with the cane. This guy's way too similar colors. I want them to stand out so that they can't blend into the background. Oh my goodness, this person is even tinier. This is nuts. These are nuts. Okay, so I'm probably putting too many in and I'll take them out later, but I want you to see the people. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm just going to do a few tweaks on these branches that are kind of sticking out a little bit. And I think I need to wipe it down one more time, and then I'll bring you in for a nice close-up. But I'm really happy with it. Now all I want to do is figure out how to get fairy lights in here. Here she is, all done. There are 4 people in there, so if you can try and find them. She's probably my favorite here out. It's like she's out wandering on the moors. But I am thrilled with how it turned out, and I cannot believe that the only money you saw, the only thing I bought for it was those tweezers, which were like $3 or $4, and the perlite. Everything else I had on hand, and I foraged for the moss and the wood pieces, and then all of the plants that are in there I took cuttings on from my own backyard. And if you're new to my channel, if this is my first video that you've seen, welcome. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will be at the end of the video, I'll be posting the Terrarium DIY playlist, and in it you will see the videos for where I went out and harvested my own moss, and I also have one for the cuttings, which I'll just reference those. That's not really in the terrarium video, but I'm not sure which one's going to look better on camera, so I'm going to give you some with just the overhead light as well. But oh my gosh, it is so cute. Let's go inside. Here's a top-down view. Let's see if we can go, let's turn you around like this and see if we can zoom in on that little person there. Just out for a walk along the river. So the river didn't look very big when we were building it, but compared to the people, it is pretty big. And the people you can see are the perfect scale for this little house. So that must have been the size I meant to buy. I think it's a 200 scale. I think that's what it's called. So now we just have to hope that the clay holds on at the back. Any mistakes with that would have been adding any of the, I shouldn't have added anything. I should have just kept the clay, put the moss on, and then if I have any bare spots, that's when I can fill it in with the cocoa core or the potting mix. That is what I'm going to do on the big one, but we're going to leave this It's going to sit on the counter. I'll probably put a bit of a lid on it just to kind of help keep the humidity in there for the first week or so, get those plants established, and then it's not going to be a fully closed terrarium. And if everything holds and it does well, then we will go ahead and start on the big beast of a terrarium. That one is huge. Thank you so much for watching. I am over the moon with this. Like, it turned out so much better, so much cuter than I thought it was going to. I was afraid it was just going to be kind of flat because I didn't have a lot of different colors and plants going in there. But those little pops of purple from the dried status is just, I'm blown away. I'm really, really happy with this. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Dexter says bye too. Dexter says, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.